Hello, my name is Melissa Thomas-St.Clair. My PLN focuses on students engaging in a real-world experience that will culminate understanding over several objectives in a content area of math for 7th grade. I have titled this PLN Black Friday Blowout. As you all know, we've just experienced Black Friday. I hope you guys grabbed up some great sales. I unfortunately didn't get to experience Black Friday, so I am making sure that I have a simulated experience that I'm going to enjoy with my students. One of the things that I'm very passionate about is bringing real-world experiences to my math students because it is important for them to make connections for coherence. It's important for them to understand what they are learning and put it in the context of something that they experience. And shopping, all of our students in some way, shape, or form have had an experience being a consumer. And I noticed that through my research, making sure that students have real world experiences builds mastery and not memorization. And the comparison that I've seen is mastery versus memorization is mastery is lifelong and memorization is short term. And when students are having experiences now with our high stakes assessments like the AIR assessments, the ACT, SAT, OGTs, students aren't building connections to use when it comes to those high stakes tests. And this is one thing that I'm trying to really embed in my everyday instruction is real world experiences. So this PLN will allow my students to navigate through their understanding and use prior knowledge to gain mastery in finding discounts, double discounts, taxes, tips. And of course, we all love a great Black Friday experience. I've been out there for the last few years, and I'm proud to say we got in no scuffles. And I kind of chuckle at that because when bringing this up with your students, you really do want to share with them some real world experiences if they haven't had them. And if they have, allow them to share those. This unit will tie the fun and excitement and thrills of Black Friday with using number sense, proportional reasoning, and that is all going to be the goal to grab the best deal. Students will leave this PLN with a strong mastery of percents, rational numbers, proportions, and ratios, percent of change, percent of decrease, and percent of increase. I'm going to get right here into the lesson. So this is entitled Black Friday Blowout. And the major goal of this lesson is students will be able to use their understanding of calculating sales tax, discount, complex fractions, unit rates, and unit fractions in order to have a blast experiencing a full Black Friday excursion. Students will shop and compare buy or buys by using their understanding of calculating sales tax and discount to solve a performance task, which this actually is. I start out any lesson, and I wrote this actually. I've used this several times, but I've switched up the fashion of how I use this unit. But what I find is that when we talk about 21st century learning, we focus a lot of times on the technology implementation and not so much the other layers. And one of the key layers in 21st century learning is cooperative learning and giving our students as many opportunities to work cooperatively is critical. This particular PLN has students working cooperatively to make decisions that are going to financially be the best decision for each of them. And through this lesson, they have to coordinate their shopping experience according to certain times. You'll really want to pump this lesson this lesson up a few days in advance. If I do this usually right around Black Friday, whether it be early Black Friday or after Black Friday, and this time I will be doing this after Black Friday. I'm excited to get my students embedded in this. But some of the ways that I pump them up is using YouTube. And YouTube is a great technology source that they use in their everyday life. And I was listening to one of my other PLNs here in this class, and she calls the students digital natives, and absolutely that's exactly what they are. They're digital natives. They go through social networking, YouTube, gaming console systems, and this is their true everyday life. So the more that we can embed this in their education experience in all content areas, the better we'll be serving them. So I open up with some YouTube videos showing the good, the bad, and the ugly of Black Friday, and they get a good chuckle, but it's more so of a motivation piece to really sit down with this and have a go at it with the motivation to have fun and have an experience that can show that they truly understand and are able to use what they previously learned to have a full performance task experience. Each student will complete their own performance task, which means that when I print this out for them, each student will turn one in. However, they're going to work in groups of 4 to complete the experience. And like I said, this is tied into the cooperative learning experience. When I do my grouping for any cooperative learning experience, I like to group my students homogeneously. I find that this gives an equitable experience for each student, having them being in groups of like-minded students. I found that when I used to tier them, that the student with higher understanding would always take over naturally, not, for any other purpose, but just naturally. And then the student with lower level understanding would sit back and allow the other students to just do the work. So I switched up the game and began to divide them by like understanding. So students will have, this will take about 2 to 3 days to complete. I've had certain groups take even longer, up to a full week, and even going into a 6th day once we have a share out. So depending upon the level of learners, I would always carve out about at least 2 to 7 days. No more than 7, though. I wouldn't take that long, because this is a summative assessment. So they're going to be working in groups of 4, and with that, they're making decisions that will financially benefit them. They're going to be given certain items, and these items are dated, but it gives still the experience. For my students, many of them would not have an iPhone 5C right now, so they are still so engulfed in some of the items that are here. We also have we also have a Galaxy on the list, a laptop, and a camera. So they have all of these items. They've given the retail price or the original cost, and then for each store A, B, and C, they are given a certain percentage that the item will be off. Once they have that list, they are going to go through each task. There's certain parts, there's 3 or 4 parts to this task. So they're going to find the discount amount. Now, that's very critical that the students understand that the discount amount is not the actual sale price. So the first thing they have to do for each item, for each store, is what is the discount? After they found the discount for each item, they then have to find the sale price. So that you find the discount, now students have to recognize, okay, I've got to find the sale price, which means I'm taking that discount and I'm subtracting it from the retail cost for each item for each store. Now, mind you, if I go back up here, you'll notice that each store has a certain time that the sale starts, 1 a.m. for store A, store B, and store C. So they've got to be very critical in their decision making once they go through and find the sale price. After they find the sale price, they are going to find the final cost with the sales tax. So now, not only are they finding out, now this is also very critical, they have to know their tax for each state, because some students don't even realize that there is a different tax amount for whichever state you may live in. So they have to find that, and they have to calculate the sales tax or the final cost with the sales tax on it. Then they're going to talk about where they're going to purchase the item. Where should I purchase my item? And they're going to use the information gained in Part A and Part B to identify and explain which store they should go to. And they have to explain why each of them should go to the particular store that they identify. And I always have to say, use complete sentences. Your stem should be, my friend should go to store blank because blank. So they are going to explain where each friend should go to. And then Part E is an extension piece to this, where they have to make decisions, consumer decisions, based on the mathematics. I'm going to go further. I've tied in several assessments, and actually the whole performance task is an assessment piece to this. So they have their homework piece, which is just kind of another task to show and prove their understanding. They have another student activity, and I love to find anything that will, I've written a lot of this, but the more that I can find that will help support from online sources I use. The standards that are involved in this PLN, we're using Common Core standards, and I always love to go to the Common Core website for the standards, and the overview that I've pulled out, the actual ones that we're going to be using here in this PLN: ratios and proportional relationships, the number system, expressions, equations, geometry. Once you get into some of those experiences to making decisions, and then the mathematical practices that are embedded in this as well. And then just further are some of the direct Common Core standards and what the objective behind each standard in the domains are. Technology is quite critical, of course, we understand and know that, in 21st century learning. And I love YouTube videos. I honestly probably use them more often now because students relate to them so much. Khan Academy is a huge part of my online instruction. When in doubt, Google it and use Yahoo, those search engines. But Khan Academy is a perfect experience for anyone that uses math. It's like kind of like a online tutor per se that really breaks it down for you. I've embedded a student review here for students to be able to tell me how they feel that the PLN is, and I'm going to allow them to give feedback so that they are able to also add their own input to this and make it a richer experience for them.